I guess I have to wait for the sound to. Okay, so if Jobin is a runner, 65K, right? I tend to run away from 65K debts. Okay, so I was here last year, right? So how many here were here last year? Last year? Don't be shy. Okay, we're just a year older, no? Okay, so last year, what did you learn from last year? Windows Phone, Silverlight, right? But the most important thing that we learned last year was how to use Windows Phone to stop smoking. Do you remember that? Now, those who remember, I showed a lighter application on Windows Phone. Okay, so what I'm gonna do today is give you a sort of, I have a slide here, courtesy of Microsoft, but I will put in some inputs on my experience in creating my first Windows 8 application, okay, using C# and XAML. And along the way, from last year until now, we'll try to talk about controversial things, diba? Controversial, no? That makes everything interesting. Like, I just learned Silverlight last year. Then there's this WinRT. What happens to my Silverlight skills, right? Have you asked that? No? How many here know Silverlight? Of course, right? Well, it's still the same, okay? What you've learned, still there. Okay? So how many here know C++? Very good. Okay? Not that you're using C++ right now, or have you used C++ before all these things came out? So I used C++ before all these things came out, no? How many here have heard of COM? 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 COM+? COM? So nobody is admitting they are very old, right? Okay. So my first programming language was Basica. How many heard of Basica? Okay. Those who laughed are people who will deny their age later on if you ask them, no? So before it was very easy. Turn on the computer and you have this prompt. I could say, print, hello world. Oh Allah, it prints hello world. Turn it off, the program goes away. Okay? So that was the starting point. Okay? So let me jump forward. So my first experience in programming Windows was using Borland C++. Okay, it's not Microsoft, but it's Borland C++. It runs on Windows beautifully. Okay, so that was my first Windows app. Then I moved on to VB. Okay, so those who are very active in the Microsoft community back then, in the 90s. Okay, there's this guy called Don Box. He's one of my favorite speakers from Microsoft. He is the champion of .com. Okay, COM. COM is, if you don't know COM, how many here have done VB6? Okay. Beauty of VB6 is it hides all the nitty-gritty details of COM. Okay? So it's so wonderful how VB6 hides all the nitty-gritty details. We hate COM. Have you tried programming in C++ COM using multiple inheritance? It's so yucky, So kadiri to death. Okay. Okay? So that was my generation, mga kadiri to death ang aming mga expression that time. Okay. So the beauty of doing VB6 then was to create beautiful COM applications without the nitty and ugly details of COM. Okay? And history repeats itself. Believe me, history repeats itself. Imagine doing that beautiful COM, or ugly, depending on your perspective, on .NET. Win32 API on .NET, but all the beauty of .NET. Okay? That's just to tease you. But before we go there, just to justify my Accenture slide, because after this, all the slides are from Microsoft. Just to justify my Accenture slide, let me show you an application I created for our showcase. Okay, good thing the bosses are not here, because I will be revealing the secret of this high-tech application. They think it's so good, but I'll show you the secret. Okay. Please warn me if the boss comes in. Okay. It's gone. Okay. Just to prove to you, no, I'm a very good designer, icon designer, but just to prove to you this is an application that I built, I use a default tile. Okay? The default tile is the star style in black and white. Okay. Okay. Let me run this. Okay. Okay, so this is an application I built. So by the way, I learned programming Windows 8 around 3 weeks ago. Okay, around 3 weeks ago. Just downloaded videos, okay? So this is a grid application. So what I did was we had this Microsoft Future Vision videos and some are videos in our company. So I created sort of a video library. Okay. Then all I have to do is click on that video library. Okay. Okay, and I created a sharing feature. Okay. There's one thing I really need to point out, very, very important thing that I need to point out in this application. Notice that guy up there? That's not Steve Jobs. That's me. Okay, so you could easily integrate with the sharing feature of Windows 8, all through application contracts. Okay, so what I have here is I have this application. Okay, I enabled sharing, enabled this application to be a sharing source, share source. Once I click on the share feature of Windows 8, it shows me all the applications that are share targets. Okay? There's so many applications actually that could be a share target. In this case, I have one. Okay, that's the mail. Okay, so I haven't installed a lot of applications. So when I click on mail, I sent information about this Microsoft video containing description and the link to this video. Probably I want to share this video to someone who's interested about this video. Okay? Cool, right? And I'll show you the secret. Okay? Another thing that I did was to integrate with the search feature of Windows 8. Okay? So you could register yourself as a program that could do search. Okay? Notice that my application is included in this search bar. Okay? So I could now, for example, type Avanade. Okay? Then, and I could find videos. Okay? Just to prove to you that I'm well integrated with Windows 8, I terminated my application. And I think you saw Joben do this. He did a search. So by default, it's on the apps. Okay? Notice that my application is still here. Okay? I could trigger that. Since I didn't type anything on the search, it will search all the videos. Okay? Okay. So what basic skill do you need to achieve this? Okay? 3 words. 3 letters. MCP. Who's MCP here? Okay. Are you a Microsoft Certified Professional? Okay, you don't need to be a Microsoft Certified Professional. MCP, the most important tool us Microsoft professionals ever have since day one. Microsoft copy-paste. Okay. So a lot of these things were done using Microsoft copy-paste. Okay. We MSDN, right? We have MSDN. So you could learn this through Microsoft copy-paste. No, just kidding. Okay, so part of it would be there are loads and loads of samples that you could try out. Okay, number 1. And once you go through this, of course you learn by copying and pasting. And as you go through the code, you realize that's very, very easy. Okay, it's very, very similar. If you've done Silverlight, it looks like a Silverlight application. Okay, or if you're doing if you did a Windows Phone application, it looks like a Windows Phone application, except that you have a large screen. Okay, so those who attended last year, you'll be using a lot of the techniques that we've done. Well, I hope you learned last year. Okay, so now that justifies my slide. Okay. Okay, WinRT for the .NET developer. Okay, the beauty of this slide is like there's a suspense, like storytelling. Okay. You already have the skills to build Metro-style apps with C# and VB. Okay. So if you remember in a Microsoft event that we had with John Lim Hap, I'm VB.NET and he's C#. In this case, we are on the same side. We're against JavaScript. No. Okay. Okay. I totally hate JavaScript, but no offense to those who are in younger generation. You know that you've been here for so long if you hate JavaScript. If you love JavaScript, like a person that I know who loves it because it's fun, it's great, he is quite young, 3 years out of college, okay? So it makes me feel so old. But again, so for us, it's VB.NET and C#. Windows have always provided features for developers to build upon, okay? So those who are as young as me would know that, right? We've used Win32 APIs, right? Even if you done VB, use this. I forgot how do you import this thingy. Okay, in fact, VB was better than .NET because there's this tool. Just choose the Win32 API and generates a VB code, some header, right? So you could call that. Okay, in .NET you have to use MCP again, right? Okay, Microsoft copy paste. Okay, Windows hasn't always made it easy for developers to use these features for C# and VB, right? Yes. Okay, BCL, all those stuff is quite great, right? But the thing there is when Vista came out, Windows 7 came out, all those beautiful stuff, you had to do it in C++. Dang, right? You're always a step behind, right? Okay, but now with WinRT, we are in step with C++ because WinRT is actually Win32 API object-oriented, object-based, okay, that you could call directly from your C# application. So if Microsoft suddenly releases a new Win32 API, WinRT API, you automatically benefit from that. You don't have to wait for the next .NET framework, who will just create a wrapper around those, right? Okay. I should have brought a clicker. Okay, for those who are hardcore developers, like I remember having to program RS-232, right, on .NET. It was easier in VB. You have an RS-232 control, right? Then I have to port it in .NET. I have to erase my forehead, my face, hoping that the pimples come off. No, created more problems, right? So you have to resort to something like this. Now, in this example, this is actually one way of capturing images from your camera, like camera. So, unmanaged type that LP tester. Can you know what LP tester is? Long pointer to string. Okay. Okay. So you have to create all these things, right? And obviously this is not automatic, right? So you know how important it is to be MCP. Okay, so you have to come up with some guy who's did this. Okay, now, okay, that looks like, this graphically looks like that code, okay? So you have this manually generated interop code. Well, very ugly, very ugly. Okay. But now, in Windows 8, okay, compared to the previous code, who says this is an ugly code? Who says this funny attribute, marshalling, blah, 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 blah? Okay, the only giveaway that this uses WinRT is what? That one, yeah, using Windows Media Capture. Okay, using Windows Media Capture. Okay, note that WinRT is not here to replace your base class libraries, .NET Framework. Okay, that's the first controversy number one. WinRT will replace the .NET Framework, right? You're going to program in native code. It's all C++. Okay, that's Elmer Fudd or Bugsman. Okay, so that's not true, actually. You need all the features. The beauty of Link, obviously the Link won't be pulled down to the low level WinRT. No way, right? No way, okay? So you could access WinRT similar to Win32 API in the past as if they are objects, okay? So I now have a Windows runtime, very similar to the previous screen, but this time, the Windows runtime gives you a natural way of calling Windows features or services using your language features, okay? So if it is a JavaScript, for example, JavaScript, Okay, anything Java I hate. Okay, so okay, um, your managed code. Okay, it looks like JavaScript functions. Okay, so if it's any language, it looks like whatever language you're programming. Okay, so you've seen this a while ago, right? So note that CLR, CRT WinJS still there. It's not going away. Windows cores are Windows. Windows Runtime Core and all this API stuff. Okay. One thing to note would be Windows metadata and namespace. What is that? Have you tried Ideal Asm? Ideal Asm? No, haven't tried Ideal Asm. Ideal Sweet. Kasi isang asm, ito matamis. Okay, so Ideal Asm is a decompiler, right? Decompiler. Okay. So the thing here is that the nice thing about .NET is you have very good IntelliSense. Okay, you could do add reference, you do object browser, blah blah blah. That's because of the metadata that we have in .NET, and that got adopted in WinRT. Okay, you have all when you reference this WinRT libraries, which is done automatically. By the way, we're your Visual Studio. Everything seems like a typical .NET object classes. Okay, so language projection is actually the service that each language creator puts in. It's a thin piece of code that sort of gives you a view of the WinRT as if it really looks like the language you're using. So for C# and VB.NET, WinRT is very similar to just calling a C# class or a VB.NET class. If it's JavaScript, it looks like JavaScript. Okay? Okay. So it feels natural and familiar from C# and Visual Basic. Okay. Now, of course, it's not magic. So what are the things that they've done? No? Okay. So everything. Okay. So again, WinRT is more object-oriented, like the Win32, which is just what? Functions. Okay, so all these things maps directly with WinRT. So you have concept of classes, properties, methods, events, collections, etc., etc. Okay, but there are certain things. Okay, of course, most differences are hidden between .NET. Okay, but there are certain things that sort of .NET needs to map. Okay, so in WinRT, there's also collections. Do you know what collections are? Collections, right? Did you pay your taxes April 15? So BIR is the #1 collector. So it has many collections. No. Collection is a data structure that allows you to put in a lot of things, right? So WinRT also has collections, okay? But those names that you see in WinRT is not the names that we're familiar with in .NET. So what they did was they simply mapped this, okay? Now, something to note is the first impression that I had when I looked at this was, damn, there's big penalty on performance, right? Are we talking about transferring contents from this interface to another collection? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is there's just this mapping. So you're actually dealing with that collection that was returned by WinRT. Okay, so once you use this collection, you could use link on it, all those beautiful stuff that you could do with the collection. Okay, now, of course, it's becoming a bit more difficult. No? Of course, there are certain things that we really can't do, right? That they can't really do. Find ways to, hide things from us, okay? Take this for example. Okay. iInputStream, okay? iInputStream is an interface in WinRT, okay? You could directly manipulate this, etc., etc. But one problem that we have is in .NET, okay, and probably in C++, we'll start with C++. You have this beautiful concept called streams, right? You have base class called stream. So, and you could treat streams similarly. It may be a network stream, file stream, etc., etc. All the beauty of that sort of got lost if you just use iInputStream directly, right? So if you have a method that deals with any type of stream, that sort of breaks if you use iInputStream, okay? But of course, if you don't need those type of features, then you could use iInputStream directly, okay? So they're so different that, but the designers did was to create extension method, okay, that would convert that as stream, right? Similar to string, right? So as stream, so that you could use this in your S3, whatever stream library that you use, okay? What is not shown here is there's actually just two. This is one. The other one is buffer. So there's this iBuffer in WinRT, and of course, it's very difficult to deal with iBuffer because we could probably be more familiar with an array of bytes, processing array of bytes. So there's also some sort of extension to move from buffer and bytes. Okay. So we can build, manage, and RT components that project into C++ or JavaScript by following a few simple rules. Okay. What is this guy talking about? Okay, for the .NET folks, one of the things, I don't know if you remember, how many here were alive when .NET was developed? Obviously, right? It's just a question if you are still a baby or you now have a baby. Okay, so for those who've been aware of managed code in around 2002, one of the things that was promised in .NET was your ability to create some module in one language, maybe C#, VB, C# for example. The beauty of that building a library in one language is that you could use it in another language, right? And we do that. It's very, very natural for us. You could reference a library that's built on C# in VB.NET and vice versa. Okay? Now, when we're talking about WinRT components, we're not really just talking about managed code. We're talking about JavaScript. We're talking about C++. Okay? How many of you have tried integrating C++ with managed code? When we tried that, it's a terrible experience. Very, very bad. So you have to probably expose like API, all this ugly stuff, or you expose it as a COM, then managed code you need to call, and or your managed code you expose it as COM, and and all this stuff. Here, when you're talking about WinRT components, you have the benefit of, let's say, C++ calling managed code as if it's C++. Okay. So what are the requirements? No? So number one, we only allow public types and members in your managed WinRT component. Okay, so WinRT exposes a number of types, standard types, and also supports structures. So if your class or component supports only those basic types, okay, and a blank screen, okay, and it uses only runtime types, okay, and you have, structs. If you use structs, it's public data fields. All types will be sealed except SAML controls. Only support system-provided generic types. Okay. For those who have known COM in the past, okay, this is similar to COM, but much easier to follow, right? It's much easier to follow. If you're doing C#, you just follow this. It's sealed. Okay, you can do inheritance. Everything's public. You use the standard types. If you struct, everything is public. And this automatically gets exposed. No? Hopefully I could. Okay. Let's hope that the demo gods are with me. Let me show you that. Okay, let's. The silence, the anticipation, as we wait for something I finally found. Okay. Background music, please. Okay. And here we go. Okay. Okay, so this is a class written in C#. Okay. And this is obviously references. Okay. I keep on wondering why I keep on looking at that screen when I have a screen here. But anyway. Okay, so notice that I could just reference this guy. Okay, I could reference this guy, JavaScript application, or if it's C++ app, I could reference this guy. Okay, as easy as that. Just by making sure that, number one, this is sealed, number one. Then app name, my hybrid app, get groups, so it will give you my hybrid group 1, my hybrid group 2, etc. Okay? Okay. So this application is very similar to one I showed. Like there's videos, right? There's a videos, a feature vision, and Avanade videos, etc. So that's a group, then you have items inside, no? So what I'm saying here is that those information will be taken from the CS WinRTlib. And if I go to the beautiful JavaScript, see. Okay, so I have to tell you something. It's not my code. Okay, let me see. Okay. This query selector thing, notice that this code, I'm using CS WinRTlib, that class 1, that app name. So that's hybrid Kubernetes. Okay. So if you run this, so what's the name of the app? It's my hybrid app. Okay, so it's my hybrid app. It's my hybrid group 1, my hybrid group 2. I apologize that I cannot walk you through JavaScript code because I need to crawl. I cannot walk on JavaScript code. So I hope you forgive me. Okay. Next, async. Async. So I guess for people who've done Silverlight code, I mean, you know what async is, right? Okay. I think a better experience would be, how many here uses Outlook? Outlook, very good, very good. How many here has tons of email? Very good, okay. Okay, then you have a very slow image. Okay, never mind. Okay, then you're running 5 or 6 browsers, and you suddenly have to alt-tab in Outlook. Okay. Okay. Then when you see Outlook, did I get cataract? Right? The Outlook screen is like white, right? Okay. Come on, come on. Then you click on it. This is an important email from my boss. I have to reply. Click, 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 click. Then you suddenly see, not responding. My job is gone. Okay, it's not responding. Okay, for the impatient guy like me, what do I do? Okay, for the impatient people, what do? Start task manager and kill, 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 right? Okay. But for the patient guy like me, obviously I'm a very patient guy. In Tagalog, malumanay ako magsalita. That's Joben, right? Okay. So, what do? If you suddenly wait, dang. Oops, suddenly ran, right? So apparently, when you see the white screen and not responding, it's actually running, right? Okay, you know what? So actually, it's your office mate who's making a fool out of you. That's a real story of it. No. So it's not Outlook's fault. It's your office mate's fault. No. The reason for that is when we create Windows applications, there are things that take time, especially when you're connecting to the network. And it uses the UI thread. The UI thread, that's where it accepts all these inputs, refreshes the screen. If you eat up that UI thread, the UI can't really do anything, right? So it seems frozen. So the best way to do it is create asynchronous methods. Okay, asynchronous methods means that, okay, I execute this on a different thread and keep the UI thread free to redraw the screen, accept mouse inputs, etc., etc. Okay, so that is the easiest way to have that proper user experience. So you don't see frozen screens anymore. Nakuha ba sa camera yun? Okay, so hindi nakuha sa camera. Okay, so you freeze, right? So that won't happen. Of course, if you're using the desktop and using a desktop application, in Windows 8, you may also experience that. Okay? But using asynchronous things, I don't know the exact word, asynchronity, asynchronicity, or whatever, Lolo. Okay. Whatever, yeah. Okay? So, the thing there is, what you do is you just start up something and let the UI run and just do a callback and just, okay, please call me when you're done and I will just display whatever you want, okay? Okay? So that's asynchronous. This is different from really creating a thread because in the past we're trained to, let's say, create a worker thread and let the worker thread do its job. Okay, then you update the screen after, you do some magic invoke to make sure that you go back to the UI thread. Okay, so this part of WinRT takes care of that. All you have to do is call it the async version. Okay, so on top we have data is equal to download data, process data. That's a synchronous way of doing things. And below, let's say future equal download data async, future that continue with data is equal to process data. Okay, self-explanatory, right? Yeah, right. Okay. So for those who are not familiar with this, that's why it's called future, concept of task, right? But this is not task. It's a mapping between .NET and WinRT. When you do a download data async, okay, it's like it will give you something in return, okay? Then you're saying object, you do your stuff, okay? Hello, object, do your stuff, okay? But remember, once you're done, please continue with this lambda expression. Okay, so that's basically the meaning of that. But of course, it's so ugly, right? You have to remember continue with, it's so hindi saucy, right? Okay. So if you look at how these things get executed, so download data, then you stop. Okay, did I stop enough? Okay, stop, then process data again. Okay, then the other one in async, okay, you start download data async, but you let things happen in between. Where's loyalty there? Okay, so you let things happen between so that you won't have a frozen screen, okay? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Windows Runtime uses async operation. So it's something that gets returned that you tell it, okay, this is something that I need you to do, wait, I'm gonna wait for you, etc. Okay, so if you're familiar with parallel tasks in .NET, it's maps to tasks. For JavaScript, promises. JavaScript promised to me that you'll be easier to code in the future. Okay. No. Okay, I hope that's not recorded. All our objects representing ongoing operations. Okay. So idea here is that these operations represent something that's executing, and you're just telling it, okay, when you're done, please let me know and I'll continue with my task. But the beauty of this is, is we have a mechanism to, get these callbacks. We know that callbacks are very difficult to code, especially if you have a callback within a callback, within a callback, and within a callback. Okay? See how you program that. Okay? So if you have this callback within a callback within a callback, have you tried that? Okay. It's going to be very, very difficult, right? Because, never mind, it's difficult. So what if we find a way to make it easier? Okay? So, too many lines, okay. So essentially, we'll mark things as async, okay, and just show it. Okay. Let me show you first a very simple example, which I didn't show for demo 1. I think that's easier to show first, then I'll show you the power and energy of asynchronous. Okay. Let me show you this beautiful application. I'll tell you why this is a very beautiful application. Okay, so this is just the basics, right? Very, very basic. Okay, hi. So I didn't follow one of the most important rules. Turn off the network or something. Okay, turn off your, I don't know how to turn off this messaging thing in Windows 8. I put the, something I suddenly know that I don't know. Okay. Suddenly, I don't know how to use my mouse. Okay. Okay. So this is the sample app that we shown in PowerPoint. Okay. So basically, I created a camera capture UI. So this is responsible in coming up with a UI for us to capture your beauty and your grace. Okay. So cropped aspect ratio is just a way to say that, okay, when you capture the image, make sure it's 16 by 9. Okay. And file equal to await UI capture file async. Okay. What is that? Okay. What is that? Okay. So when you say async, okay, async, you actually have to wait for it to complete. So once you call it, it will return immediately without giving you that file, right? So in the traditional way of programming this, what do? You probably what? Create a delegate callback that needs to be executed once this gets started, and you say that start or something like that. But if you use the keyword await, that is done automatically for you. So it looks like it's a synchronous call, but behind the scenes, it becomes an asynchronous call. Okay? So if you don't know how to create callbacks, good for you. You don't have to learn it anymore, and you program it this way. Just put an await. Okay? So essentially, it looks like a synchronous call, but in back end, it's actually there's this callback. Okay, what is this callback? The callback is actually the one at the bottom. Okay, usually we create. Okay, can we? Airplane mode on. Okay. Next time, i-script ko yan. Sasabihin ko, you just been promoted. Okay. Okay, so, I didn't prepare for that. Okay, so rarely do I have network on my laptop. Okay, so, that threw me off. Okay, await. Okay, await. Okay, let me wait for this. So essentially, it's await. So if you're going to look at this, it's very, very simple code, right? It looks like synchronous code. But behind the scenes, there's actually this file equal not equal to null is actually executed after this capture file async is executed. Okay, after that. But of course, without holding your thread. Okay, let me tell you why this is a beautiful application. Okay. Let me correct this. This is actually a handsome application. Guess what? Okay. Take photo. See, it's a handsome application. Okay. 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 Okay, notice how handsome I am. Okay. That's okay. I don't know how to close this. Daddy. Okay, by the way, some secret, no? So if you start Windows 8 without reading any manual, okay, I'll give you a tip. No, when you move up, okay, there's this hand that appears. You click on that, and you drag down. Ooh, okay. You just throw this away, okay? So that's why kids know how to play Windows 8 much better, right? I don't like that, okay? So that was, I think, in the usability labs. Okay, Jobel will probably correct me. So they probably got the 3-year-old kid. I don't like that. So that's how they developed this gesture to close the application. Okay. Okay. That's the beauty of not working for Microsoft. I can do storytelling alive. Okay. And don't have to justify to my boss. Okay. But Jobel has to justify a lot of things why he let this happen in front of him. Okay. So where was I? The handsome application. So if you're a lady, that becomes a beautiful application. I would agree. Okay, so at last but not the least are the tools, right? Okay, so how many here are designers? Designers? Fashion designers. Okay, fashion designers, so designers, right? So you use expression blend, right? So how many here are developers who were forced to use expression blend? What the heck is this object timeline thingy? How do I create this animation thingy, right? So, you're so yucky, you know, especially if you're fashion designer. So, okay. So, But the thing there is, once you get comfortable with that, oh, it's cool pala, it's cool, The thing there is, it's expression blend. You have to switch from expression blend in, Visual Studio. It's, like, we're macho developers, right? We're not designers. We take pride, we code, don't design. Design are for patsies. Okay, but can't admit, right? But we love expression blend, the features of expression blend, right? But we cannot admit to that, right? It's like admitting you want to be a designer, okay? So, so the beauty about this is the beauty of the Philippines is, okay. I love this. You know why? Do you know why I love this? In the old designer, you see an exception. You cannot do tab switching, right? Everything is frozen, right? At least it's nice. You can continue working, right? Okay, everything is still asynchronous, and voila, okay? And you go to the document outline. Yummy, right? Object and timeline. Very similar to object timeline. Yeah, I don't have to go to expression, right? Typical, I need to select this, right? Like, have you tried selecting an object behind another object? Behind another object that hides another object. Have you tried that? In Visual Studio? Now I have to go to Blend, right? I have to go to this document library, right? Now you can do this. Okay, you can keep your macho image and not use expression blend for this. Okay? No, I'm not saying that designers are not macho, right? Well, it's just a way for us developers to hide our praises, our awe and love for those designers, right? Because we cannot ever, for so many years, how much I tried, I cannot be a designer. Okay, so I just create that facade that I'm a macho. Designers are patsies, but I admire a lot of designers. Okay, you could also do something like this. If you've tried a Windows tablet, okay, Windows 8 tablet, you have these modes like I forgot that name. Okay, that's filled, all those stuff, etc. Filled. What do you call this? Snapped. Okay, so that's one way to be intelligent. It's snapped. Isn't that obvious? It's snapped. Okay, it's written there. Snapped and portrait. Okay. You could also use something like this. Okay. You could. Now the problem with if you know a tablet, you could actually rotate your tablet. Right. It has an accelerometer, so that it will detect that it's in portrait mode. Okay. But the beauty of Windows 8 is that it could run on my old hardware. But there's one small problem. If I rotate my laptop, it's still upright, right? So what you do is you can run a simulator, similar to Windows Phone. It has a simulator. And what you could do is you could rotate the app. I think I'm over time. To oversee this. Wow, okay. Then I could, how do I rotate this? I think it's hidden. Okay, I could run this. Okay, I could rotate this. Woo. Okay, so I remember that if you rotate a blank page, it's still blank. No, it's a real realization. So if I were to reload my application and debug, stop debugging. So let me show this off. This is my first and most beautiful Windows 8 application to date. Okay, so let me debug. Start without debugging. So my application works when it's in portrait mode. Don't ask me. See, I don't want this. Okay, so what the? Okay. So if I run this in portrait mode, voila, this thing still works. this thing still works, right? If I rotate this, voila, right? How did I do that? It's a very difficult process, right? File new, metro style application, grid application. So that's how many clicks? Yes, okay, that's how you do it, okay? So I leave to tell this another day. Where is my PowerPoint? Okay. Okay. Okay, just short recap. Okay. You know how to program in Windows 8. You just need to download the free Visual Studio Express in Windows 8 OS, of course. If you're doing C# and VB, MCP still works, right? What made us famous? High-paid professionals, MCPs, that still works. Okay? So WinRT is actually influenced by C# and VB. Okay? So don't be uncomfortable, it's still there. It feels natural and familiar. And CLR is still there, so don't worry. All your link, etc. are still there. WCF are still there. And async, no more callbacks, okay? And no more frozen windows. And of course, this one, okay? So I think my time is up. So shall I sing? No. Okay, I think you'll go home if I sing. Shall I turn over to our MCs for the raffle?